There should be 50 people in this room listening to us. We got to get this community involved. They take too much for granted. They look at 5 people and say, come up with the fund. You got the money. You got the money. You guys got it. Don't spend it where you spend it. Spend it where I want you to spend it. There's nothing wrong with having money in a bank. We had $900,000 in the water account, and we didn't pass on increases in rate from the city of Youngstown. We depleted that account, and then we had a 2,500 linear feet of 24-inch water pipe break. We had to go out and borrow the money to fix it. There's nothing wrong with having money in a bank, if it is for concerts. What if we come on to some bad times? Wouldn't it be nice to have $10,000 and know you have 2 years of concerts ahead of you? I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem.
So are you telling me you will not vote with me to appropriate some portion of this money to put concerts on the green on this year?
If I were led to believe that 4 people on this council were going to vote, I would, for the sake of being unanimous and showing that we can reach an agreement among 5 educated people, I would vote with you. I wouldn't like it, but I would side with the majority to show a unanimous vote.
Well, I'm back onto the 200 because I'm going to vote no. Doesn't make any sense for me, and I'm, you know, I have a lot to learn, but it just doesn't make sense to me. If this was my bank account, I wouldn't do it. But
If the account,
I'm a new
is
guy.
already stated for the concerts on the green, I'm not sure why there would be any vote against spending the money that is for the concerts on the green for the concerts on the green. If I'm understanding the figures that you're telling me, the money is already there. How is it that you would vote no? How can you say the money's there, but we are going to vote to not spend it on what it is designated for? I'm afraid, to me, and I'm new at this, but that doesn't make a lot of sense.
May I comment?
Please.
What if in the future, hopefully a long way into the future, when we don't have Barb Dixie, a figurehead, to be the honorary chair of perpetuating concerts on the green, what if her son Jack has moved away and there's nobody to step into your moccasins and take up the cause? We're not going to have concerts on the green if we run into lean times. Why not have some money in the bank?
When you don't have the money, you make the decision then. When you got the money.
That's one way to look at it.
Yeah.
All right? That's one way to look at it.
Especially if that's the only thing that you can do with it.
I just can't get comfortable with spending that money after all the time that I've heard how poor we are. It doesn't make any sense.
I don't think we're going to come up with an answer necessarily today. I think we have funds going towards that. I think that there's going to be at least, from what I'm understanding, there's going to be at least 3 of them, and we're going to start having concerts on the green.
No, there's not. Once you appropriate the money, you're not going to have concerts on the green, period.
What about this $1,950 that we have?
If you don't appropriate the money, you're not going to have concerts on the green. You've got to appropriate something to concerts on the green. And right now, you've got 0 appropriated for concerts on the green. That's what I'm telling you. Look at the appropriation ordinance that you passed. 0. Am I correct?
Chuck, can I ask you a question?
Sure can.
How was this money appropriated to the concerts on the green? How did that evolve? I don't know, so that's what I'm asking.
I'm going to guess that we appropriated that money in previous years, and that's leftover fund balances. Is that correct?
They were transfers from the general fund to the recreation fund to cover expenses in there when we were doing the summer recreation program and the concerts and all that. But I mean, the amount of the transfer from the general fund was not the exact dollar amount. It was rounded, so there's been some money left over in there. But it can't go back to the general fund. The only way it could go back would be with a court order.
I mean, it came from the general fund. So had we had that at 0 now, and we were going to do concerts on the green, we would have then had to authorize general fund money to go in there. And in that case, I would agree with you. We don't have money to put in there. But in light of the fact that we have put the money in there and we don't have the ability to take it back out, letting it sit there makes absolutely no sense to me if it can only be used for concerts on the green.
What does it take to get a court order?
I have no idea, never thought.
Because, well, listen to me for a second. Maybe this doesn't sound logical to you. Let me finish,
Okay.
right? If this was your money, right? Your money in your checking account, right? And you were in dire straits, unless I'm wrong, you wouldn't do that with your own money? That's the way I'm looking at it. If I had $5,600 in a fund and I knew I was in big trouble with revenue, I wouldn't spend that. You know, and it might be my lack of understanding, Chuck, I know I'm only 3 months old, but this just does not make sense to me. And I don't, if we can't do it by court order, and once it goes in there, you tell me, once we put something, we say we're going to spend it on something,
It becomes part of that.
whether it's smart or not, we still have to do it?
And you cannot take it back out.
Wow. Okay,
Better move on.
I'm done.
You didn't establish the 3-minute
I
thing
know.
before, so you can't do that
I
tonight.
know.
Okay.
I know.
I would like to ask a question out of you, Jack. Why are we having this dialogue in April? Where was this knowledge, this information, when we were having the budget meetings? If we had the money, why did we cancel concerts on the green? Now, I've been around the turn, this is my third time with budgets. Maybe I should have known that, but I didn't, and apparently none of us did, or we would have said, let's have concerts on the green one more time.
In our budget meetings, we talked about capital projects that we wanted to do. I think is what the way capital projects were laid out. We decided what projects we could and could not afford to do. We did not get into an individual line item evaluation of every program that was involved in the budget. We looked at a big picture, and that's the picture that we used to vote upon our appropriation for this year.
I made up a list of about 18 items, and I have it buried in my files, buried in a drawer in my desk. And concerts on the green was one of the things. 4th of July, the city's donation to the 4th of July parade, and I distributed that to everybody, and everybody said, they didn't say yes, they didn't say no, they said, I don't know how you're going to record that, Patty. I'm surprised we're having this dialogue now that we didn't have it in January or February.
I agree. I think if we have the funds and we can't use it for anything else other than that specifically, can we use it for anything else other than concerts on the green?
That money was for like the summer rec program for the children, that was stopped a couple years ago.
So we don't have that, so it can't go to that anymore.
Right.
So can it go to anything other than concerts on the green? If not, that money will just sit there, then, is what you're saying.
Not necessarily. And I'm not speaking as an authority, but I think you can get a court order to redesignate that money.
I said that, yeah.
Let the minutes show a nodding of yes.
And I think that's a responsible thing to do, given our current financial state, and raise the money another way. It doesn't mean we can't have concerts on the green, we just have to do it a different way. I think that's
Our
how I
general
feel.
fund, Jack, since you're standing there and you're the white knight here, I'm viewing you as the white knight. I love you're stepping up and you're saying, I'm going to try and raise some money. Our general fund is going to be in deficit in the year 2017. So you're going to take, what, $6,200 and put it in there? That's a drop in the ocean. But it's a step in the right direction. And we seem to have some momentum here, and that's just nothing more than a list of who's given what. With what we have committed, we have 3 concerts, paid the insurance, pay the royalties. 3's not as good as 6, but it's a step in the right direction.
If we're going to take that approach, then why not ask for a court order to transfer money from the sanitary sewer fund? Why not take money and transfer it from the water fund and put it into the general fund?
Youngstown did that. And they're
Yeah,
being-
they may
They're
have-
being sued for $4.2 million.
Well, they had some issues with regard to the way that was going. I understand that. But gentlemen, that is not the way a fund accounting system works. If that's the way you are going to conduct business, and I'm saying you, the 4 of you are going to conduct business, I may not continue to serve on the city council. And we're going to either operate within the rules, or we're not going to operate in the rules. Now, whether or not we spend that money doesn't make any difference. I'm just telling you what my opinion is.
What is wrong with building that account up?
There's absolutely nothing.